want to get your thoughts on what has been this latest escalation in violence between Israel and Palestinians. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas does seem to be holding for the time being. Sir, though we have been here before in 2009 and 2014, war, temporary truce, then war again. Ceasefires have never solved the underlying issues between Israelis and Palestinians. And clearly it is those underlying causes that must be addressed to achieve a long-lasting, viable peace for the benefit of both Palestinians and Israelis equally. And I use that term equally because it is a term that the US and the Secretary of State has been using liberally on his tour through the region. Your thoughts?
Well, I think what we saw in Gaza only demonstrates how important is what we build now with the UAE and other Abrahamic Accords countries. We are building a new model of peace. What we saw in Gaza was the people of yesterday fighting the wars of yesterday against peace, using missiles against civilians to solve problems or to create problems. And what we see here is a completely different model. We spoke before about tolerance. We spoke before about normalization. We spoke before about building relationships between people, about education for peace, learning about each other's, our history, our shared history. And I think that when you come from the Middle East, our corner in the Middle East, and you come here, you see a huge difference. And what we try to hope, what we try to build, and what we're doing here is building the exact opposite of what we see, what we saw in Gaza, Gaza firing rockets at Israel.
Right. Hamas told Israel that it was the recent violence, the threat of forced expulsions of Palestinians from their homes in East Jerusalem, Israeli police raiding the Al-Aqsa Mosque during the holy month of Ramadan. That was the spark for their latest volley of rockets into Israel. I don't want to get into with you the tit for tat that followed. What I do want to discuss is the UAE's statement that was released urging Israeli authorities to, quote, assume their responsibilities in line with international law to provide necessary protection to Palestinian civilians' rights to practice their religion and to prevent practices that violate the sanctity of the holy Al-Aqsa Mosque. And the UAE calling on Israel to preserve the historical identity of occupied Jerusalem. The UAE, one of a number of countries, Arab countries, that have normalized relations with Israel and as such have direct lines of communication with Israel these days. As ambassador here in the Emirates, what was the message locally, sir?
I think the message was clear. The message is, first of all, the UAE has relations with Israel. They can talk directly with Israel. I think the message from the UAE was very clear. Missiles, rockets won't solve any problem. Whatever the problem is, whatever the grievance is, the answer is not firing rockets at civilians. I think that the message from the UAE is to sit down, to recognize Israel, to normalize relationship with Israel, to abandon terrorism, not that they've ever been engaged in that. I think that the message here is, as I said, clear. Peace and normalization as a way to solve problems.
Well, back in the summer, the UAE's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed, stood alongside Benjamin Netanyahu and then-President Donald Trump at the White House for the signing ceremony of what are known as these Abraham Accords. And at the time, he said that these accords would, and I quote him here, enable us to continue to stand by the Palestinian people and realize their hopes for an independent state. Look, the UAE has not played a lead role in mediating the current ceasefire as we understand it. But from sources, I do understand that there have been significant discussions behind the scenes. At this point, when we consider Jerusalem and the issue of Palestinian rights, are you worried that this recent escalation could further slow the pace of normalization and the benefits of the Abraham Accords at this point?
I think that the lesson from the recent escalation is quite the opposite, is that we have to further enhance the relationships, that we have to further promote and progress in our relationships. Because again, what we saw here and what the Abrahamic Accords represent is a departure from yesterday, departure from the rounds of violence, departure from everything that we knew so far into a new model. And I think that the more we do it and the more we show others in the region, look at what we're doing, look at how we enjoy the fruits of peace, look what it brings us here, the more they may say to themselves, well, why not us? And I think that this is the message. This is the message that the UAE is broadcasting to the region. And I think and I hope that the region will listen.
With respect, sir, I must press you on this because it is clear that the UAE's position is very much in tune with so much of what we hear around this region with regard the issues of Jerusalem and the issues of Palestinian rights. And as much as we understand that this was a decision, a sovereign decision by the UAE to enter into normalized relations with Israel for the benefit economically and on a business basis for this country, their position is clear on the rights for Palestinians. So I ask you again, are you concerned that unless there is a change in the approach by Israelis, that normalization and its benefits will slow here?
Look, I can't see into the future. I'm not concerned about the UAE approach, if that is what you're asking. I'm concerned about the Palestinian approach, about Hamas approach, about the approach to peacemaking. This is what concerns me. And as about Israel-UAE relationships, as far as we can see so far, they are progressing. And what the UAE will try to bring to the table is its experience in peacemaking. And whether the Palestinians will choose again to fire rockets, I hope not. Whether they choose violence, well, I think we show them clearly that this is not the way, in so many words and so many ways.
Let's be quite clear. Hamas does not control Jerusalem. Israel does. It's changes there that are needed. Those are underlying causes. Do you support a change? Do you support equality of rights for Israelis and Palestinians going forward?
Well, you know, you asked me before about freedom of religion and worship. It's not just for one, it's for all. Jews have rights, as well as Muslims and Christians, to pray in the Western Wall and not to be disrupted by rocks that are being thrown from the Temple Mount whilst they're praying, worshiping. So freedom of religion, freedom of worship goes around. It's for all, not just for one party. So if I'm concerned about, and what worries me is that, yes, I want freedom of worship. Israel said all along that there won't be any change to the status quo, but it stands for everybody. Jews been praying in Jerusalem, Jews will pray in Jerusalem, Jews will visit the Temple Mount. It's their right as much as it is for everybody else. And that's what we try to present.
It is a change to the status quo that is, of course, sought by Palestinians. It is a change to the status quo which is sought by Palestinians. Let me just put this to you, sir. The recent unrest has also sparked a lot of criticism from Democrats. Let's just pursue this line of inquiry, because I'm really interested in your response to this. There has been a lot of noise from progressive Democrats in the U.S. Congress. I spoke to one of them recently who wrote a letter to Secretary Blinken urging him to put pressure on the Israeli government to stop the home expulsions and the violence. Just have a listen.
Our recommendation, hey, Israeli government, stop committing these atrocities. And if you truly want peace and to live side by side with the Palestinians, then do it. stop picking fights, because we know what happens. The cycle of violence is almost exactly the same every time. Settlers come in, steal land and homes, and it gets very ugly. And then Hamas inserts itself separately and responds. So if I were the Israeli government, how about stopping the cycle?
And she described Israel's government as committing human rights violations. I just want to put this to you. Should nothing change, and should the underlying causes of the Palestinian struggle not be addressed, do you worry about a sea change in support for Israel from Washington, support that Israel has always relied on?
Look, I'm serving here at the UAE as Israel's head of mission in Abu Dhabi, so I can tell you about what I saw here during the Gaza campaign. And what I saw here is a huge difference than what we saw years ago, if you can compare it to 2014. Or in the words of young Emiratis who told me that for the first time, they have a chance to hear and to listen to the other side. So far, they only heard one side. You know, I was born in Israel. My father was born in Israel. I'm a sixth-generation Israeli. Pretexts and excuses for violence are in no shortage. 100 years ago, 1921, it was a bench that the Jews put in the Western Wall in order to sit down whilst during a whole day of praying in Yom Kippur at the Western Wall. That was the reason, a bench for an outbreak of violence and the massacre of Jews. So excuses we heard a lot in the last 100 years. Our eyes are turned to the future. We want to see a cessation of violence. The future of Jerusalem and the future of the status quo in Jerusalem is in no doubt, and the Israeli government have said it numerous times. I think that what we see is what we saw certainly when Hamas started firing rockets in Jerusalem. That has got no excuse. We have seen no condemnation, white condemnation for that, and I think this is what we should focus about. This is what we should focus on about. Rights,
it is really
status quo, freedom of worship, and praying, freedom of religion is to all sides, Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike.
And it is really important to get your perspective. And I am really pleased that you joined me today at what is the first Holocaust memorial exhibition ever to be held in this Middle East region. So we do thank you for that. And that holds, certainly provides some hope for the future. Thank you, sir.